a proper cremation. Let us, the John A. Lefthall Funeral Home, assist you in person to provide you with the guidance, expertise, and professionalism needed in a solemn time. The John A. Lefthall Funeral Home, providing our families with dignity, compassion, and excellence.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Who better to be in the studio right now with breaking news than our county commissioners to help us to understand and digest this news? The Steelers, Mike Tomlin, has just announced that Matt Canada has been relieved of his duties as the Steelers' offensive coordinator. Commissioner's reaction.
Whoa. That's big news.
Yeah, it should have happened a long time ago.
It is good news. I shouldn't say that it's good news. I don't even care. But here you go. Our conversation with our county commissioners brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Well, our county commissioners, like everybody else, trying to fit the dollars into the holes that need to be plugged and spend them wisely. And so we need to start off our conversation talking about the county budget and how the numbers in the most recent meeting, numbers just didn't meet up to what you need to have them match up.
It really didn't, Todd. And honestly, this is a part of government that I really dislike. And the reason I say that is, being in the private sector for over 30 years, we can work budgets differently in the private sector. For instance, our products to sell. If you need to, heighten your budget or keep your budget the same, you start off by, again, looking at your sales force and bringing them in. Hey, advise us. What can we do to actually increase our revenues? Do we have to do a redesign of a product? Do we have to change a product? And then after that, it works its way down, and it's easier. Government does not work that way, and especially in the Commonwealth. We have one product, and that product is basically taxes. But there's ways that we have to redefine the way we get to that number of the budget. There are opportunities that we have to take. We have taken quite a bit of those opportunities in the past 4 years. Which actually has made it to a positive going forward. So again, my colleagues and we have actually come to an agreement. We're back at the table, right, Thursday, and we meet every day, and we're going to get there. Mm-hmm. But again, we just need to find a way that we need to get there. Listen, we're not exempt from any other business. We are government, but we are a business. And I said coming in that I would run this as a business, and I aim to actually do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Robin, I should mention, I did not introduce you formally. Mike Keith, Robin, Gorman County Commissioners here. Shireen Hess not able to join us this morning. Robin, your thoughts on the budget?
And I agree with Mike. It's I'm not so sure I would say I don't like it, but it is probably the hardest things and probably the priority thing that our residents elect us to do. And so I agree, and I applaud my two colleagues. We failed the first budget proposal, as we should have. It brought us back to the table to really talk through not just years, but decades of decisions before us, right? And it's really hard to help people understand you're not pointing fingers, you're not calling people out, you're not calling them down for their decisions. It was just decisions that got the budget where it is. We come in and we have to take over and start to figure it out in our time. Our time, of course, through COVID was crisis, right? Like everybody else before us is going to say, well, this isn't a good time to do this, even if it's a tiny millage just to get you through CPI, cost of living expenses, increases, et cetera. Now we're in record inflation, right? And nobody wants to hear it, right? We live in a society today. Look around. We all know that nobody cares to hear about the woes we have to figure out. They just don't want their taxes increased. And I get it. We all get it. But like Mike said, it's a business, and we can say we've cut this, we've done this. We plugged an $18 million deficit our first year. Nobody wants to hear that. Costs have increased, gas and everything else. We've got contracts, union contracts under negotiation, 8 of 9 right now. And And I always say, do you think that county employees in their jobs, whether it's mechanic to mechanic or, administrator to administrator, do they not deserve as much as other people are getting paid in demand and think we're going to retain them at the county level to do good work? So they do. We all live in the same world, and we just have to figure it out. And we have to be frugal, and we have to let our residents know we are truly working hard for them.
Money money isn't worth what it once was.
No, and I agree. Robin actually made a point. We could actually make this an hour show, and we can go back years about what past boards have done. But you know what? We're here today. I'm not going to go back and throw people under the bus and hash over things that they decided. It's done. It's behind us. We have to take what's today and move it forward. And like I said, it's a government, but it's no different than a business. And we know if businesses don't succeed for the future, they don't exist. So we're going to make a full due effort, and we will get a budget passed.
So those previous boards of commissioners, they were working in a different world than the world in which we're working today. All right, so let's move on to other things that concern the county commissioners, of course. You look about at the start of a new year and things that you would like to get done in this coming year. We'd love to have more businesses come in. We would love to have all kinds of tax-paying citizens move in to Indiana County. The realities of the day probably don't make that it's going to be all that likely to happen, and so we work and we work hard to see what we can do about it. Your reaction to the recent election and how it worked in Indiana County. I think Indiana County has been really, really smoothly run in terms of elections in the last, for as far back as I could think. I don't think that I can recall years when we've had any difficulties. In fact, I think we've actually been ahead of the curve when it comes to elections in Indiana County, have we not?
You're right. And again, it attributes to the people that are behind the scenes that operate those elections. This year, being the 3 commissioners were up for election, you had a new election board. And the new election board was actually somewhat new to the process. But again, the people who actually have done that in the past took the new election board. Basically, they educated them, and they got through it very, very well.
You look at the Indiana County Office of Planning and Development and the work that they do, and it's awful difficult work that they are involved in. There are projects that people would love to see happen. There are projects that have been on the books for a lot of years trying to get them to happen. There are funding gaps that preclude those from happening right now. It doesn't mean they stop working on them, though, does it?
No, and in fact, I've often said, and I don't like to call people out, but Byron Stauffer and his team and the planning office and how he connects all the levels of government to seed a project, go after a project, communicate with the owners of projects, to bring every aspect of the benefits of what Indiana County has to offer to the table to land that company here is monumental. Yes. It takes a long time. And again, I don't like to insult people and say it's complicated and they wouldn't understand. But really, until you're in the business of understanding what it takes to attract a business to your area, and that's anywhere. You have to remember, businesses are looking at how do they make a profit? Is there a niche and a span of people, population, area, transport, every kind of hook up to efficiencies and productivity they can find to do that at the end of the day? Environmental studies have to happen. All kinds of permitting has to happen. So there's so much work prior to landing, even when somebody says, I think we're going to choose you over somewhere else. But so much of that, even though the county is involved and we want this for our county, right? We care about our county. It takes all the partners from federal to state to local working together to land the kind of money, to land the kind of benefits or the incentives to bring those businesses here. And, the state's doing its part with bringing down corporate net income, because we're going to lose companies every time if theirs is a lot less or zero and ours isn't. It's going to be one thing on the facet that says, checkbox, nope, this one, yes. Workforce has always been our forte. And we're no different than the rest of the world right now, right? We're all looking for the workforce ready, talent that these companies want to hit the ground running with. That's a struggle. So all those things go into, will this company choose us over somewhere else?
I look at what the county's role can be in providing jobs, bringing industries here, things of that nature. The county has done great work down through the years providing industrial parks and those sorts of setups, infrastructure, highways, water systems, and all of those things. I think probably the most underappreciated asset that the county has is the Jimmy Stewart Airport. And there's been tons of money poured into the Jimmy Stewart Airport in order to actually make it an economically beneficiary thing for Indiana County. There's been a lot of money spent there to bring a lot of companies here, and I don't think people really have heard that story.
Well, Todd, and you're exactly right. People don't see it. Coming into office 4 years ago, I heard the same thing. I heard a lot of things about our airport. That was probably one of the things that Robin and I actually met out with the authority. We addressed. We said, listen, this is what we hear, and we want to change, what people are talking about. I will tell you that Indiana County Airport is actually not only used for county business. We actually have businesses that operate in other counties surround us that come in and use our airport. Matter of fact, I know one company that flies in at least once a week with their jet to go to see their operation in another county. And there's many of those. There we talk about new revenues. There's, you go to Sheetz every day, pump your gas. Revenue is one of the streams that airport sees as far as bringing profit in. Here, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock, it used to be that's the only time you could get fuel. Now, we have self-serve out there. It's been in place for 3 years now. If you understand inventory, that actually does 5 turns a month now in fuel. They come all hours of the night just to fuel up. But, again, just to see what businesses actually come to that airport to go to see their operations, it's amazing how much.
Is there still untapped potential at the airport?
Oh, huge. You can't, it is, again, like anything else, when you start to entrench yourself in that industry and let the experts talk to you about the potential and the possibilities. And Mike hit it. Fuel sales, we've watched them increase. Of course, the prices increase, but that hasn't held anybody back that stops on their way to somewhere else or coming here intentionally to get the fuel while they can. So it's a great stop, but they see it and they go, we need a hangar. Do you have a hangar? Right? And that starts conversations.
A commercial hangar.
A commercial hangar, correct. So, and then you start to understand the benefits and then what people are looking for. Why are they here? They're looking at your community. They're looking at land. They're looking at investment. So it is an untapped potential that we have got to really focus on in our future. Yeah. If I may just shout out, Todd, too, it made me think of what lies ahead in our future. And I have to give a huge shout out to IUP and IRMC and probably Chris Corin and her organization for IUP and that team, and Jim Kinnear for his team at the hospital. They did the Public Rural Health Second Summit last week, and I was there for a full morning. They had 4 speakers that were absolutely phenomenal to try and get ahead for this community to use the assets of this rural public health initiative to pathways forward to put workforce all across this nation, quite frankly, with rural health.
All right. And yeah, that's a subject for another time that we would love to get to because we're out of time for today. But thanks to Mike Keith, to Robin Gorman for joining us this morning here on Indiana in the Morning. Fox News is up next at the top of the hour, and then Josh Whittison back with us from the WCCS Newsroom. Indiana in the Morning, always presented by First Commonwealth Bank. Time to be first.
101.1 FM and AM 1160 WCCS, Homer City, Armagh. WCCS.
They're making progress. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Israel's prime minister just said that about a potential ceasefire in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu telling Army reservists he hopes there will be good news